Mom! I ran back through the hall. They couldn't have just disappeared. Kelson must have dragged her through the front door. But when I reached it, the smashed eggs on the floor were undisturbed. When Kelson vanished, I'd seen another pattern flash in my head. This one had been far more complex. I hadn't really been paying attention, but I thought if I tried, I could reconstruct it. It was my fault that Mom was taken. I had to get her back. I didn't care if I blasted myself into oblivion trying to mimic the pattern Kelson had used. I closed my eyes, trying to remember all the twists and curves of the blue pattern that had flashed through my head. There were 1 or 2 points I wasn't sure about, but I pieced together the structure anyway. When the golden threads looked as good as I could get them, I twisted as before, and found myself tumbling, crashing through golden light. It was too bright to open my eyes. It felt like going down a tube slide, but without the pull of gravity to keep you sliding on only the bottom. I tucked myself into a ball to lessen the effect of my painful bouncing back and forth, regretting the stupidity of trying to copy something I knew nothing about. I felt like Alice down the rabbit hole, but without the reassurance that this sensation would ever cease. Just as I felt myself blacking out, the brilliance vanished. My body crashed one last time, and I slumped to my side. I took a deep breath, then coughed as I choked on disturbed dirt and the pungent smell of urine. A cacophony of sound assaulted me, but I was too dazed to make sense of it. I sat up and looked around. I was in a small hut of some sort. A few rays of sunlight filtered through a door at the far end. After my eyes adjusted, I saw feathered bodies lining the sides of the structure, fluffing their feathers in perturbation. Chickens! The squawking suddenly made sense and seemed far less sinister, but I was anything but calm. In fact, I felt swamped in fear. Real fear, unlike anything I'd felt before. My mind refused to accept what had happened. "I've knocked myself out," I muttered. "I'm just having a really weird, smelly dream. I'm dreaming of chickens because I slipped on the broken eggs and knocked myself senseless. That's it. It has to be." I pinched myself hard, yelping as I realized I was already bruised there. The rest of my body protested as I tried to stand. "This isn't real. This isn't real," I mumbled. I was having trouble breathing through the haze of dust, hay, and bird defecation floating in the air, so I limped for the door. I slammed the door shut behind me as fast as possible in case a pecking chicken was chasing me. The bright light outdoors shocked my senses all over again. I jerked my arm over my eyes, squinting. My eyes cleared, but I kept blinking, trying to make the hallucination in front of me disappear. It didn't. I'd traveled somewhere else. I gazed stupidly toward a group of funny, square, flat-roofed houses that looked to be made of mud plaster. The problem wasn't the houses, though they looked primitive. The problem was the fact that I was in a desert, only it didn't look the same as Arizona's desert. There were no saguaros, and the ground was a dun color rather than the nondescript Arizonan dirt. There were little scraggly bushes here and there. The road leading to the village was hard-packed earth where nothing grew. There was no mistaking this place with the greenery of Michigan. The funny pattern thing had made me go somewhere, but it certainly didn't look like the place I had wanted. I felt a sob build in my throat, and my backpack's weight doubled. Landing in a chicken coop was a blatant clue that I'd most likely remembered Kelson's pattern wrong. The barren landscape confirmed my suspicions. Where was I? Where was Mom? There was only one way to find out. The chicken coop was next to a house set apart from the main clump of squat buildings. I shuffled toward the dirty building with trepidation. There was a wooden door in the front, and I wondered where the wood had come from. I could see no trees. My thoughts dwelt on trivial things, shying from the deeper mystery of where I was. A timid rap on the door was all I could manage, and I stood back almost hoping no one would be home. What could I say? "Hi, I just dropped here from a golden vortex. Would you mind telling me where I am?" That wouldn't go over well in any country. If I still couldn't believe this had happened, how could I expect anyone else to?